This is the DJI Osmo Action 3, and I've got 2 tests for it. And yes, I've got a new car to show you as well. I've never reviewed an action cam before, so when DJI got in touch and said, do you fancy checking out the Osmo Action 3, I immediately devised an excuse to head out on an adventure for 2 days. And the first thing I'm going to do is see how this thing performs as a vlogging camera. A lot of people seem to be getting back into vlogging, which is fantastic, and this is yet another example of a camera that you can use for that task. Everything you see in this video will be shot on this camera, unless I throw in some drone stuff, which will be shot on a DJI Mini 3 Pro. The same thing goes with the audio. You're hearing the audio on this camera at the moment. I might occasionally switch to the DJI mic, which they very kindly sent me as well. And for the second test tomorrow, because this is an action cam, I'll be taking it to the Surrey Hills to do some mountain biking. But first, I am going to do some vlogging, and I've decided just to go to London. And what I'm going to do is go into the sat-nav and literally just type in London. No plan whatsoever. I'm just going to drive into London in this BYD ATTO 3 EV. So a big thank you to DJI for sponsoring this video and making it possible, and I keep delaying it. I've got to drive into London. Let's do this. Okay, so here's what you need to know about the DJI Osmo Action 3. It shoots up to 4K at 120 frames per second, and it has a super wide 155-degree field of view. It also shoots HDR 10-bit video. It's also cold resistant and water resistant up to 16 meters. There's a very cool quick release system, so you can very easily and quickly attach the Osmo Action 3 to a whole variety of accessories. It's got dual LCD screens, which in situations like this where I need to keep my eyes on the road but also just very quickly glance at the framing of this, it's really useful. A full charge will give you about 160 minutes of recording, but it also comes with a very cool and a very DJI battery case, which can charge the 3 batteries which came with the pack they sent me. And DJI has released a new firmware update recently, which has improved a whole bunch of things, including the image quality. Going through a tunnel, here's a good test of the dynamic range of the Osmo Action 3. Dynamic range is basically how well it copes with sudden changes from a very dark scene to a light scene, or to scenes where there's a mixture of both. So I'm coming out of the tunnel now into very bright sunlight. That didn't look too bad at all, really. I think the big thing with these action cams is not having to worry too much about the settings. You just want to start shooting, you don't want to mess around. Never parked in Trafalgar before. Gone totally the wrong way here. There was definitely a sign. I'm gonna have to do an 8-point turn now as well, aren't I? Oops. We are in luck. Hello, mate. Just do, yep. 12 quid for 1 hour's parking. No chance. I'm loving how quickly you can just start shooting on this Osmo Action 3. Most of the vlogging that I do tends to be on my iPhone, or I've even done it on my big Sony FX3 camera. And with all of those, there's a lot of faffing involved. With this, you just hit that button, done, and then it turns itself off once you're finished. Right, let's have a look. Up to 2 hours, 19 quid. At least I didn't pay the congestion charge. Now, the great thing about this ATTO 3 is that if I open the boot, we have what looks like a normal boot in here, but actually it's a 2-stage boot. So beneath here, if I lift up this flap, there's another little storage compartment where I can put some obviously top secret expensive stuff. So that's reassuring. Feels like I'm on a race against time now to beat this expensive parking. Go and get something to eat, buy a pair of socks, backpack, and potentially a dongle, and then get back to the car. Okay, so while I hot-foot it to the Apple Store, just a note on the settings that I'm using. Because I'm vlogging, I'm not using anything apart from the standard settings, so no flat colour profile, no log shooting, 24 frames a second, 4K. This is the standard rock steady stabilization setting. The reason I'm leaving everything else as standard is because I think that's what you do when you vlog. You don't tend to faff about with settings and stuff. One USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack acquired. If Casey Neistat's watching this, he's absolutely quaking in his boots, isn't he? For someone who's used to using much bigger cameras for vlogging, this is fast becoming my favourite vlogging camera. Day one done, and tomorrow it's time for action. This is a bit different to London, so I promised some action stuff, and that's exactly what I'm doing here today in Peaslake. And thanks to the Riders Hub, which is just over here, they've very kindly lent me a specialised e-mountain bike for the day. I'll try not to fall off and hurt myself, I promise. Okay, so there's 4 stabilisation settings. One is just off. The second one is rock steady, which I've been using all day yesterday and this morning. Third one is rock steady plus, and the fourth one is horizon balance. So I'm going to head down some of these trails now and show you each one. If you're wondering, the bike is a specialised Kenevo SL. I've probably pronounced that wrong, apologies. And it's worth a mere £9,500. Although apparently it has come down in price recently. Lovely bike though. I'll put a link to those guys in the description. The Riders Hub have been so brilliant today. As for this Osmo Action 3, I'm so impressed. It's been a brilliant vlogging camera. That was the one thing that I wasn't sure about. You know, who uses a action cam like this for vlogging? But actually, the speed with which it turns on, the image quality straight out of the camera, I think the mic has been fantastic as well. Again, I've not touched either of those things. For action stuff, obviously it's very good. That's what it's built for, really. But I think the thing that sets it apart from those competitors is the build quality, the wantability that DJI seem to build into all of their products. I think I'll be using this a lot for vlogging, but I'd love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the image quality, the sound. And on that note, if you want to see another vlog style video from me, keep watching for a link to a video where I went to Brussels to meet Patrick Rambles and see if I could survive on an iPad mini only for the entire trip. Now I've got to make it home without running out of battery on this. Wish me luck.